afternoon and good evening, Saints fans. We are coming at you from the 2024 NFL Combine. Sorry we weren't able to get you guys a video a little bit earlier today. Was busy doing some interviews, talking to GMs and coaches all throughout the league. And I just want to take a quick second to remind y'all to subscribe and join our family here at Saints Now by Chat Sports. We're trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of this offseason. And with your help, by subscribing on today's video, not only do you get daily free coverage around your New Orleans Saints, but you can also become a smarter fan, more versed across the NFL, and on top of that, we're going to have a lot of fun throughout the process. So I encourage you to subscribe, lock us in, and join the squad. So I wanted to hop on the mic today and talk about a trade rumor that Jeremy Fowler recently spoke on, and I actually got the chance to lay eyes on Jeremy Fowler out here, got to shake his hand, got to talk to him for a quick second, but I want to talk about a Khalil Mack trade because at the end of the day, the New Orleans Saints defense isn't something that I'm necessarily extremely proud of. And when I mean defense, or when I say defense, I specifically mean the pass rush. I think that the secondary and the DBs do a fine job of taking the ball away and creating plays and taking advantage of bad plays or blown plays, if you will, for opposing offenses. But when it comes to the Saints pass rush, the defensive ends in New Orleans, they combined for 14 sacks in total this past season in 2023, whereas Khalil Mack, he had 17 by himself. So what Jeremy Fowler said specifically on the Khalil Mack trade, he said, multiple teams I have spoken to have an eye on Mack because he had the 17 sacks a year ago. He has a huge cap hit, and the Chargers can possibly save $20 million or more on their cap if they were to trade or move on. Maybe there's a trade possibility for a team in need of a pass rusher, and there will be many in that market around free agency. And I do believe that the New Orleans Saints will be one of those teams in that market for an edge rusher, for a premier pass rusher, because the pass rush just wasn't good. Cameron Jordan is not getting any younger. And I know that bringing in a guy that is, or just turned 33 years old isn't getting you any younger either, but what he does provide to you is 74 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 22 quarterback hits, 10 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles, and those aforementioned 17 sacks. And then the year prior, in 2022, 50 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 12 quarterback hits, 8 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. This guy is still putting up ridiculous production at a very high level, at a pretty ripe age of 33 years old. And if you ask me, it doesn't seem like he's totally slowing down. I think that he still, isn't the player he once was when he was a first-round pick by the Raiders, which, in case you didn't know, Khalil Mack was drafted in the first round, the same draft that they took Derek Carr in the second round. So this could be a little Derek Carr, Khalil Mack reunion, if you will, in New Orleans. I know we've had a lot of those reunions from Vegas to New Orleans. Most recently, Dave Ziegler, he is joining the New Orleans Saints as, or throughout the draft process, kind of as draft analyst. I know that a big thing for Saints fans and for a lot of us is how the financials are going to play out, because the way that the Saints have restructured a bunch of the contracts so far, right now, they're looking at about $24 million over the cap, which is incredible considering that they were about $83 million over the cap few weeks ago. And now obviously the 2024 NFL salary cap across the league has also increased to over $250 million. So that also helps the New Orleans Saints chip away at that number that they're trying to get under in terms of the cap space. So for Khalil Mack, his base salary next year is $17.55 million. He does have a roster bonus of $5.5 million as well. So the New Orleans Saints could go and trade for Khalil Mack and then restructure his contract so that you could convert that roster bonus and most of the salary cap into a signing bonus, which could be paid out in the future over the next few years. And it would lower his cap hit to just under $6 million, at $5.58 million to be exact. So the risk with this is he's going to be expensive. He's an older player. Could leave behind as much as $17.5 million. However, the reward, $17 million cap hit and dead money, 17 sacks. Like, I think you would maybe consider taking that not that bargain, but taking that deal, if you will. I don't necessarily know if the New Orleans Saints are going to be buyers for Khalil Mack, because what I'm curious what I am curious about is what the New Orleans Saints could possibly give up. Could they package Marshawn Lattimore? Maybe. Could they try and package Alvin Kamara, Taysom, any of these guys that could be a cap hit or a cap casualty, whether it's a cut or a trade candidate? Could they package any of those guys together to try and make that pick or that trade a little bit more enticing for Los Angeles? I mean, it's just kind of tough for me to see how the New Orleans Saints can pull this off with such limited draft capital. I mean, you don't have a third-round pick. You have a pick in the first round, pick in the second round, and you got to wait a while, and then you got a bunch of back-end picks. And at the end of the day, you're not going to get Khalil Mack for a bunch of 5th, 6th, and 7th-round picks. You're going to have to give up some decent compensation, and I think that compensation could fall somewhere in the 3rd or 4th-round picks, and those are picks that the New Orleans Saints don't have right now. So those are just some things to consider here. In terms of some other buzz and some other things that I've heard around the Combine, this is why you subscribe. This is why you join the channel, so that way you can get this awesome coverage, because this is the first live event that we are out at here on Saints Not by Chat Sports. But this isn't going to be the last. I can promise you that. So again, lock us in. I do think that the New Orleans Saints made a really good hire with Klint Kubiak, and I'm going to get into that here in just a second. John Lynch talked about the move of Klint Kubiak joining the New Orleans Saints as the offensive coordinator, and he gave Kubiak a lot of praise. He gave him a lot of kudos. Spoke really highly of him, said he was excited to see him seize this opportunity, and he was very, very proud of Kubiak and what he'd been able to accomplish. And I'm looking forward to seeing the offensive tendencies that were ran in San Francisco possibly get translated and brought over to New Orleans. I think that would be a really good way to utilize Klint Kubiak's knowledge and the experience that he gained under Kyle Shanahan. Now, just a couple things I want you guys to weigh in on. 1, do you even want a Khalil Mack trade? Like, is that something you're interested in? 2, what would you offer in a Khalil Mack trade? And the third one, the really big one that I need you guys to check out for me, or to respond in the comment section for me, is how excited are you about Klint Kubiak? Give me your one-word reaction about Klint Kubiak as your OC. Mine, ecstatic. If I had another one, creativity. I'm so pumped to see how these things are going to be utilized in the 2024 season. I think this whole coaching staff, this whole regime knows that you got to get it going. You don't get another year. You don't get another chance to maybe try and prove it. This is the year to do that. So pressure is on. Heat's turned up. Could the New Orleans Saints add to their defense and get a better pass rusher? Will Klint Kubiak be the guy that we all think he's going to be? Time will tell, and we're going to be here throughout every step of the process, throughout the offseason, throughout the regular season. And that's why you should join our channel here. We are going to be giving you guys coverage all year round. Shout out to you, Saints fans. Thank you for tuning in live from the Combine. My name is Trace Girouard. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all stay golden.